Good morning, Rinpoche. Short refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha most excellent. I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. The four immeasurables, may all mother sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and causes of suffering. May they never be separated from happiness, which is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. May all mother sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and causes of suffering. May they never be separated from happiness, which is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. May all mother sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and causes of suffering. May they never be separated from happiness, which is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. Short mandala offering. An infinite array of worlds, each with four continents and the wealth of infinite ocean of realms. If I bring them all to mind and offer them without exception, please hold with compassion all beings they contain. My body enjoyments, whatever I own, my aggregates, elements, and sources, my aspirations now and the time to come, as well as everything I grasp as mine. By offering them all, may I be blessed with the end of self-grasping, completely liberated from the bounds of real and unreal, transcending the names, attributes, arising, cessation, abiding, coming and going, affirmation and denial. The supreme mandala is the natural state. By offering it, may I be blessed to attain the state of Buddhahood. Om Guru Deva Da Kini Ratna Mandala Pratitsa Soha. Supplication to Lord Jigten Sumgan, unequal refuge, ornament of the world, your fame pervades the 3,000 worlds. You are the victor Vajradhara without a doubt. I bow at the feet of the Father Jigten Sumgan. Continually I think of no one but you. Compassionate one, grant your blessings. Dispel the darkness that surrounds my heart. Please bless me so that I realize the unelaborate nature of mine request for teachings. Please turn the wheel of the Dharma of the two vehicles and their combinations according to the disposition and likewise the mental capacities of sentient beings.
Thank you, everybody. First, please relax your body and mind, and then inhale fully all the blessings of the Buddha, and heals our mind. Please exhale. And once more, please inhale fully all the loving kindness, compassion of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, which permeates in our mind. And exhale. And once more, please inhale all the bodhicitta of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. and purifies all the delusion of our mind. And exhale. And rest our mind as it is, like the space. And purify all our limitations. And then we cultivate the mind, bodhicitta, that will study the jewel ornament of liberation to attain the Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. And we should feel such a grateful. I have this precious opportunity to study, practice bodhicitta, not as a Buddhism, but rather to uproot all the cause of suffering of myself and others. Just reflect. I have been in the samsara for a long time, but today, this life, having this precious human life, I got this opportunity to reflect on the wisdom of the Buddha. So we should feel, I'm so fortunate. With this feeling of joy, then we go through this text, the jewel ornament of liberation. Today, we are reflecting on the meditative concentration, the fifth topic from the 6 paramitas. And this chapter is 16, the perfection of meditative concentration. See, so this is today's little heavy duty, has more complex in the meaning, understanding, especially also practice. So we should reflect, you see, you have heard of many times the 3 training. The training of the morality, moral ethics, the training of the meditative concentration, and the training of the wisdom awareness. So far, what we went through, the practice of generosity, moral ethics, patience. So these are within the topic of the moral ethics, which means we purify all the mental afflictions, confusions, and we train our unruly mind, making the mind more flexible, more workable, so that we can experience more peace, harmony within us. So when the mind is more kind of workable, more trained or tamed, then there's a greater opportunity to achieve the meditative concentration. So these 2 are such a great preparation, foundation to actualize the special insight, the third training. So then the fourth from the 6 parameters, the perseverance goes to all the 3, the moral ethics and meditative concentration, wisdom, awareness. All these 3 need this perseverance and the joyous effort. Yeah. So now I will read this. Say chapter 16, the perfection of meditative concentration. The summary is all are same. Reflection on the faults and virtues. Definition, classification or division. Characteristics of each classification. Increase, perfection, and result. These 7 comprise the perfection of meditative concentration. Now, the first, reflection on the faults and virtues. Now, as you know, the faults means disadvantage. Without this meditative concentration, then what the disadvantage is there. And when we have it, experience it, what kind of good quality, the virtue is there. So I'll read this again. Even though you may have the practice of generosity, moral ethics, patience, meditative concentration, and so forth, it is called scattered if you are without meditative concentration. This means when our mind is scattered, not equipoise, not calm abide, then it's called scattered. Under the influence of scattering, distraction, your mind is wounded by fangs of afflicting emotions. See, when the mind is distracted, scattered all the directions, untamed, then mind is in between all the mental afflictions. So fangs of afflicting emotion means that our mind is injured by the fangs of the mental afflictions. The mind is wounded. So engaging in the context of Bodhisattva says, for the man whose mind is distracted, dwells between the fangs of afflicting emotions. So mind is distracted, scattered. Then our mind is very vulnerable within the mental afflictions, like dislike, attachment, anger, hatred, so forth, unsettled. Furthermore, without the meditative concentration, you cannot achieve clairvoyance. You see, what we call clairvoyance, see next, future, this life, future, next life, so forth, and clairvoyance. And without clairvoyance, you cannot benefit others. The lamp for the path to enlightenment, is Atisha says, without the accomplishment of karma abiding, one cannot achieve clairvoyance. Likewise, without the power of clairvoyance, one cannot benefit sentient beings. So it's very difficult to benefit sentient beings. So To benefit sentient beings, we need clairvoyance or meditative concentration. To get benefit to ourselves, we also need the meditative concentrations. Again, without meditative concentration, you cannot achieve wisdom awareness. This wisdom awareness is a special insight. And without wisdom awareness, you cannot achieve enlightenment. The letter to a friend, Nagarjuna says, without meditative concentration, one cannot achieve the wisdom awareness. So these are few quotations that Gampopa brought here for us. The disadvantage of the lacking the meditative concentration. On the other hand, when you have meditative concentration, you will give up attachment to inferior objects. That is our ordinary life. We enjoy in our life with the distractions. When the mind is distracted, then you enjoy. So that's inferior. It's not the best to enjoy. You will achieve the clairvoyance, and the many doors of meditative concentration will open for your mind. The condensed perfection of wisdom sutra says, through meditative concentration, inferior sensual objects are abandoned. Enjoying looking at the forms, beautiful pictures of flowers, or beautiful music, smell, taste, touch, these things. And validity, clairvoyance, and meditative concentration will be accomplished. Again, when you have meditative concentration, wisdom, awareness, special insight will arise, and your afflicting emotions will be abolished, will be purified. Engaging in the context of Bodhisattva says, having understood that afflicting emotions are completely overcome by superior insight endowed with karma abiding. You see, we need karma abiding, meditative concentration, to manifest the wisdom awareness or the special insight. You do this, as usually I say, when you synchronize this karma abiding, meditative concentration, and special insight, then our mental affliction is totally uprooted. When you have perfect meditative concentration, you will have special, perfect insight, and will develop compassion for all sentient beings. The accomplishment of Dhammadhatu Sutra says, through mental absorption, equipoise, one will see all of reality perfect as it is. By seeing all reality perfectly as it is, a Bodhisattva will develop great compassion to all sentient beings. See, so it's not just sitting ideal. When one achieves this karma abiding, meditative concentration, then mind is more clear. When the mind is more clear, and there's a greater chance to develop profound compassion, and will build other excellent qualities. Again, when you have meditative concentration, you can establish all trainees trainees, you see, Dharma practitioners, or those who wish to attain Buddhahood, enlightenment. The ornament of Mahayana Sutra says, through meditative concentration, all the sentient beings will be established in the three types of enlightenments. So here, meditative concentration, so all the sentient beings means those who are interested. Everyone, those who are interested to free from samsara, attain enlightenment. And through this ability of the mind of meditative concentration can help those individuals, those who are interested in the Sharavaka, Partika Buddha, and Bodhisattvas state. So these are the brief, the quality, the benefit having the meditative concentrations. So just please reflect into these two. The faults of without the meditative concentrations, and the qualities and the benefits having the meditative concentration. So now very important here, you see, it's not enough just say, oh, that's wonderful, I like it, but we have to make effort how to achieve it. And sometimes you say, oh, you said so wonderful, oh, I like what you said, but then we don't practice. What's the benefit? Yeah, So when you like it, then we have to make effort to achieve it. Now the definition of the meditative concentration, samadhi, now at the meaning we all know samadhi. The definition of meditative concentration is that it has the nature of calm abiding. Nature, you see. Nature means just naturally. Our mind is trained in that way. So naturally, your mind is calm, not distracted. The mind abides inside, one pointed on virtue, not one pointed in the non-virtue. That's very important. Sometimes our mind is so one pointed in the non-virtue, I will get rid of that person, so one pointed mind. This one pointed mind, how to help the sentient beings. In other words, it's the absence of all the non-virtue. Yeah. Absence of all the non-virtuous thoughts, unwholesome thoughts. Also, from the chapter on the concentration, from the Bodhisattva Bhumi, the mind abides one pointed on virtue. So the mind which is one pointed on virtue means in the absence of all the non-virtue. In the absence of all the non-virtue, when you can abide the mind there, then that's called samadhi, one-pointed mind, meditative concentration. So please keep that in the mind. This kind of meditative concentration is further achieved through the complete avoidance of the distractions, which are the opposite of concentration. So distraction is the completely opposite of the meditative concentration. So here we have to now hear Gampopa briefly, very important points he bringing together. What is the distraction? What is the absorption? The meditative state. First, one should avoid distraction. So, distraction. The avoidance of distraction is called solitude. Now, when the mind is totally free from the distraction, it's solitude. Whether in the mountain or in the city or at your house. Where one is isolated from physical agitation. So here agitation means distraction. Our body, mind agitated by the distraction. And the mind is isolated. Isolated means not isolated alone, isolated from all the distraction, scattered mind, from discursive thoughts, you see. Engaging in the conduct of Bodhisattva says, but through solitude of body and mind, no discursive thoughts will occur. When we have the physically, mentally free from all the distractions and in a solitude, isolated, then mind is no discursive thoughts will occur. Now, one should understand that isolation or free from all the distractions from physical agitation is discussed in 6 topics. So again, here as I mentioned, we are so kind of fortunate. There are so many other books you can read, volumes and volumes. But here Gampopa brought all the essence, just made into few lines, so that we have all the opportunity to look at it, investigate, meditate, and practice. See, the one first topic, the primary characteristics of agitation. The cause of agitation. Here, agitation means distraction. The faults of the agitation. So there are 3. First, look at this. Then after that, the four primary characteristics of solitude, the cause of solitude, and the good qualities of the solitude. See, the primary characteristics of agitation, the basic, the characteristic, the definition of the distraction. What means in agitation? Distraction is about that is to be scattered because of being in the midst of your children, spouse, retinue, and wealth. This means in the different people, our mind is totally scattered, distracted. See, you also look at the wealth. So that's what it means. Our mind is distracted within this, in between all this busy life. We keep that. The cause of agitation, distraction, is attachment to such sentient beings, your families, groups, all this. As children, spouse, retinue, and so forth. Attachment to wealth, such as food, means attachment, food. Material things means all the wealth, and so forth. And attachment to fame, praise, and so forth. To praise, to get the good praise, then you are so distracted. What to do, how to do these things, making all the effort to become famous. we know all this, the rich and famous, the rich and these things will not bring avoidance of agitation. So if we are involved all these things there, then we cannot avoid the distraction. So avoidance of agitation. See? It is said, holy life is not forsaking because of attachment to people and due to craving for material gain and the like. The faults of agitation or distraction should be understood general and particularly. Concerning general agitation, distraction, the sutra requested with extreme sincerity says, Maitreya, Buddha is speaking to Maitreya, there are 20 different types of defects, faults. What are these 20? Body is unrestrained. Our body is not well trained, not free from all these activities. The speech is unrestrained, and the mind is unrestrained. Gross mental afflictions are rampant. All our gross mental afflictions, the wild mind manifest, and we cannot settle that. Even holy speech is affected. The Maras have a chance to triumph. Mindfulness is lacking. Karma abiding and special insight cannot be achieved, and so forth. So they are like that. These things you just investigate. Now, please, you see, understand. Don't take it personally. I used to say this. When you don't like personally, you say, I don't like it. No. Just don't take it personally. Just be objective. But it makes sense. Utilize our kind of clear understanding of sense. Even I cannot do it, that doesn't mean I don't like it. So I cannot do it. It's my kind of shortcoming, But this generally the great practitioners, they could do it and they achieve the great qualities. So how they understand this? So this is called study. You use our kind of sense of the wisdom, how that can be achieved. Now this is general. In particular, you will not achieve enlightenment with the force of attachment to sentient beings. The Moon Lamp Sutra says, one who fully attend sensual objects, looking at the beautiful forms, sound, smell, and taste, and touch, craves children or spouse. So you crave one individual who craves children or spouse and clings to the home that should be rejected, will not achieve enlightenment at all. When we have craving, attaching to this, making every effort to gather these things, will not help us to free from samsara, will not achieve enlightenment. Engaging in the conduct of Bodhisattva says, through being attached to living beings, I am completely obscured from the perfect reality. Therefore, you should avoid these attachment. As is said, it also cannot benefit me, and I cannot benefit it. Therefore, stay a long distance from the childishness in the samsara. We in individuals, they cannot benefit me to free from samsara, achieve enlightenment, and I cannot benefit them to free from samsara and achieve enlightenment. So see these things, and then to help those and to help myself, and we go to the retreat to practice. The beneficial effects of avoiding these, the Moon Lamp Sutra says, Sutra mentions, having renounced attachment to child and spouse, being afraid of the home and renouncing it, the achievement of enlightenment will not be so difficult. So renouncing attachment to child, spouse, doesn't mean, as I usually say, doesn't mean don't care. By attachment, I cannot help them. But if I practice Dharma, then I can help them, you see. There are also the two defects of attachment to wealth and fame. Wealth and fame cannot be held forever, and they will create a predicament. So, engaging in the conduct of the Bodhisattva says, whatever fame and renown I have amassed have no power to accompany me, means there's no power to accompany me life after life. They may help me this life to have a good place to live, to have all these good facilities. When I have to go, I have to leave everything behind. I cannot take a penny with me, Second, it is said, by the piling of whatever objects you are attached to, misery, thousands will ensue. And there's a lot of the difficulties we'll face. We can see very easily now. We're impressed all these luxurious mansions, places. But when you have them, then you see there's one after another. It's a problem, Just something, So in the old time, my life really, when I was born, until 12, 13 years, I lived in such condition, 6, 7 centuries life, very primitive. But houses, the houses are so poor, but not so much problem there. You have to go get water outside. There's no water inside, And you just go to the toilets are all outside, So it's very kind of primitive but easy life. But now when you have the house here, so luxurious life, Your plumb system is inside, your heater system is inside, and there's one after another, There's a problem with the pump system. There's a problem of the heater system. There's a problem with the kitchen. All this, So a lot of distractions, and then it's very expensive, and you have to work hard to pay all this, and bill. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but just reality, nature. For the Dharma practitioner, it's distraction. Okay, so this the primary characteristics of solitude. Now, these all are the disadvantage of being distracted for the practitioners. Those who wanted to go to retreat, simple life is very much kind of appreciated. We needed that. Those retreatants who have a very luxurious life, I think they cannot achieve so much. Now this is saying about the description about the solitude. The primary characteristic of solitude is to be free from these agitation, these distraction. Distraction is that's called the definition or the characteristics of the solitude. The cause of solitude is to avoid or to abide in a monastery. Now here you will find what's monastery. Usually sometimes we say monastery is a big building with a lot of statues, high thrones, and a lot of luxurious things there. So this is a beautiful monastery, we say this, But here monastery will have different understanding. So abide in a monastery by yourself. So now here's what is a monastery? Being in a cemetery. Monastery is if you stay in the cemetery, it's a monastery. Okay. Or by the forest, or if you stay in the forest, it's monastery. Or cave, or if you stay in the cave, it's called monastery. Or plain, just plain, there's nothing, So what that means, this is a measure done in the old system, 500 arm span. Arm spans is an earshot about a measurement, distance. A place which is the distance of an earshot from a town, village, is called a monastery. So this is called monastery. The treasury of Abhidharma says by Vasvandhu, 500 arm spans is an earshot. That place is called monastery. Monastery is outside of the town, a distance about maybe like a mile, or 2 miles, The good qualities of solitude, escaping from agitation or distraction, and staying in monasteries for the sake of enlightenment and of sentient beings, has many good qualities. It is an excellent offering to all the Buddhas first. Second, one will renounce samsara, will be free from the 8 worldly concerns, and will not encourage the afflicting emotions to rise. And meditative concentration will arise, will achieve. Saying, no? The first one, taking 7 steps towards a monastery with the motivation to stay there with the bodhicitta for the benefit of sentient beings, pleases all the Buddhas more than making offerings with the diversity of food, drink, flowers, and so forth. See, when you say now, tomorrow, for next 1 month, 1 year, 2, 3 years, I will go to retreat in the solitary place. You packed what you need, and then next day you walk towards that place. So you're not walking. Those days, there's no vehicle. No, people walk. So towards that direction, 7 steps you make. That kind of benefit is there, that which pleases the Buddha. It's more than any offerings to Buddha. Because Buddha says this person is making effort to free from samsara, to achieve enlightenment, to benefit sentient beings. So I'm so happy. I'm so pleased with this. In the sutra says, the Moonlam Sutra says, victorious one is not honored by offerings of food and drink, or likewise of clothes, flowers, incense, and garlands. One will make greater merit by taking 7 steps towards a monastery in order to benefit sentient beings by renouncing evil composite phenomena. So if you have that much merit by making 7 steps towards the monastery, if you are full arrived in the monastery and do meditation practice, how much benefit is there? Inconceivable. The second one, concerning renunciation of samsara, freedom from the 8 worldly concern, and the discouragement of afflicting emotions. That same sutra says, likewise, one will renounce all composite phenomena. One will have no desire for all the world's, the worldly achievements, and afflicting emotions will not increase. So when you are in the mountain, in the monastery, and doing the meditation, then mental afflictions have little chance to manifest. The third one, principal objective is to increase meditative concentration quickly. The same sutra says, be detached from village and city. Always attend the forest and isolation monastery. Always be alone, like a rhinoceros. The rhinoceros has only one horn. That's called rhinoceros, by alone. Before long, you will achieve supreme meditative concentration. When you are free from all these distractions, then it's much easier to achieve the meditative concentration. In a distraction, no? So you see, you have a phone, smartphone one side, you have iPad another side, you have all this around it, and then do meditation, do some meditation. They say you cannot meditate. There's a ringing, there's a news, there's a this and that. No way to achieve the meditative state. See, this explains how to remain isolated from physical agitation or distraction. So the 6 topics here explained so well about the first 3, the definition of the distraction, so forth, agitation, so forth. And then the definition of the isolation or being in the solitude is just few sentences each with a quotation. You see, this is very important. We have to rely on the Buddha's teaching. So each has their own quotation. Gampopa is not making by his own some interpretation. Just as mentioned, don't take it personally. As mentioned, I don't like this, We don't have to say that. Just see how in the previous great masters, they have achieved the ability, qualities, and enlightenment, how they achieved the enlightenment. You can see, and how I am doing, how I can expect to achieve. You see, look at this, Now be isolating the mind from discursive thoughts, you see. While staying in the monastery, contemplate why you went there. Think that you come here to this monastery because of fear of the disturbing influences of the village and town. Recall why you fear the influence of the agitation, distraction. So first look at this. Why I come here in the retreat now? For what purpose? We're not going there just to have some relaxed few days. We're not going there just for some vacation, but we're going to the retreat place, in the monastery, in that isolated place, to free from samsara, to achieve enlightenment. That means we are in the mental afflictions. We need to purify these mental afflictions. These mental afflictions cannot purify in the distracted place. So he's saying this, So the householder Takshulchen requested sutra says, fearful and frightened by agitations and distraction in the samsara, fearful and frightened by the wealth and honor, fearful and frightened by evil friends, fearful and frightened by non-virtuous masters, fearful and frightened by desire, hatred, and ignorance, the 3 poisons, fearful and frightened by the maras of the skanda, is the mara of the skanda, afflicting emotions, is also mara, and Lord of Death, and the Devaputra. This is called the 4 maras, the mara of the skanda, mara of the emotions, mara of the death, and mara of the Devaputra. Fearful and frightened by the hell realms, hungry ghosts, and animals, the 3 lower realms. With these fear and fright, I escaped for this monastery. See, reflect on this. Why I come here? Because of this. No. Now here's some very nice, insightful wisdom method that Gampopa describes here. Now investigate action of body, speech, and mind in the monastery, in the retreat place. If I kill, if in case, steal, or so forth, while my body is in the monastery, then I'm no different from wild beasts, hunters, thieves, and robbers. I should avoid these actions by contemplating that they cannot accomplish my desire. Investigate speech. If I engage in idle or divisive talk, or use harsh words and so forth while in the monastery, then I'm no different from peacocks. Peacocks, very beautiful bird, and parrots and blackbirds, lures, and so forth. I should avoid this speech by contemplating that it cannot accomplish my desires. Body, speech, the mind. Then investigate my mind. If I have attachment, hatred, jealousy, and so forth, while in the monastery, then I am no different from wild animals like apes, monkeys, bears, grizzly bears, and so forth. I should avoid them because they will not accomplish my desires. This finishes the explanation of how to isolate the mind and from discursive thoughts. So see, very beautifully, few sentences made such a profound meaning. First, you go to the monastery, isolated place, free from all the distractions physically. And then once you are in the monastery, you examine yourself. I'm really in the isolated or in the monastery. So look at the mind, speech, all this. Examine those, purify those. So this all will help how to relax. See. So these are conditions we have to arrange, prepared. Now, through the isolation of body and mind, distractions will not arise. Without distractions, you can enter into the meditative concentration. You should train your own mind. You should meditate and apply the remedy for whichever afflicting emotion is strongest. Stronger. So look at yourself. You judge yourself. There's, ignorance. There's aversion, desire, attachment, pride, jealousy, all these things. Which is stronger for me that I have to deal? Examine to yourself. So then here, Gampopa described very briefly, see, to remedy attachment, contemplate the ugliness. So maybe without going through reading all this, I will just say a few here. Here, contemplate ugliness. This ugliness doesn't mean twisted face, twisted your eyes. Here, what this ugliness means in the Bodhicitta Avatar mentioned, examine your body. First, skin. Underneath skin, flesh, blood, all these nerve systems. Under that, there's a bone. Then inside the bone, marrow. Then what's the essence there? There's nothing, no. So there's nothing to attach to this, to yourself and to others as well. This one maybe is helpful. At the time of Buddha, one woman was very attracted to a monk. And the Buddha came to know this, or informed to Buddha. So then she came to Buddha. Then Buddha said, now, look at the eyes. What is underneath the eyes? Eye is eyes wax. Nothing, just eyes wax. Wax, you know? Wax, eyes wax. Look at the ear. Inside the ear wax. Look at the nose. Inside the nose, just nostrils. All this dirty, unclean thing manifests. Look at the mouth, all this lava, all these things. Buddha said, just you contemplate on this. And she thoroughly understood that. At that moment, says she realized the special insight. Yes, there's nothing to attach to. And now all her mental afflictions just totally disappeared. So this was means ugliness. Number 2, the remedy, hatred, contemplate, loving kindness. That's we know. In the section of the loving kindness, you practice that repeatedly. It's described here, but we don't have to go through this. Open this, and you can read also. It's very easy. To remedy ignorance, contemplate interdependent origination. So this has a little more complex meaning, which we will read. To remedy jealousy, practice equalizing yourself and others. Jealousy, when somebody's kind of better position, then we're jealous about that. So to that, he said, equalize yourself and others. If I have that person's position, so what I want that. So why I should be jealous about the others? So equalize, we're all same. We want to achieve the same thing. So why I'm so jealous about this? So you can read that as well. To remedy pride, practice exchange yourself and others. See, when you are better, so I'm much better off than others. So then exchange. You put yourself and you put yourself put other place and other put yourself. Usually we say we should know how to wear others' shoes. So meditate on this exchange. If you have equal afflicting emotions or discursive thoughts, then practice the watching your breath. So generally, mind, nothing special attachment or anger, just mind becomes so busy, So for that remedy, watch the breath. Usually we do, counting, following, and relaxing with these things. Okay. Now, please look at the page 225, number 3, ignorance. We'll read a little bit about these are the really so important, little profound. We need some pay attention, penetrating. Those who have more ignorance should contemplate the law of interdependent origination as a remedy. The rice seedling sutra says, this Buddha saying, monks, he who understand this rice stalk can understand the meaning of interdependent origination. This is how the rice manifests. So you need filled, fertilized, good weather, water, moisture, and then seed. All when this come together, the rice will grow. So it's interdependent. Those who know the interdependent origination know the Dharma. So that's what's the Dharma. Dharma is not just one thing. All causality, interdependent nature. When you know this, you know the Dharma. This is very profound. Those who know the Dharma know the Buddha. So then that person will know Buddha. Buddha is not something solid there. All interdependent nature. Buddhahood is perfection of all the interdependent causes, condition. That's why Dharmakaya is emptiness. Within an emptiness, all the manifestation, no limitation. See, one who knows the interdependent knows the Dharma. Who knows the Dharma, who knows the Buddha. It's very profound. And that's reality nature. Furthermore, the interdependence of samsara is explained in order, and the interdependence of nirvana is explained in reverse order. The first has two topics, interdependence of the exterior and interdependence of the interior. Interdependence of the exterior has two topics. First, interdependence with cause, and second, interdependence supported by conditions. The first one, interior interdependence with cause, as is said, monks, now Buddha is explaining to the monks, O monks, because of this, that is produced. Because this is produced, that is born. This way, by the condition of ignorance, mental formation arise. By the condition of birth, there occurs old age, death, sorrows, lamentation, suffering, unhappiness, and distress. Therefore, in this way, this vast aggregates of suffering appears, you see. It's all interconnected, interdependent. Because of the ignorance, there's a mental formation. Because of this mental formation, there's consciousness, you see. Because when there's a birth, there's aging, and sickness, death, and so forth. All related, one after another. So you should understand about this. This is called interdependent. It's like a dream. It's like a mirage. This is explained according to the desire realm, according to birth from a mother's womb. So there's 4 types of birth. Born from the moisture, birth from the moisture, birth from the egg, the bird, like birth from miraculous, like lotus, born from the lotus. So birth from mother's womb. This according to the mother's womb birth. now this 12 interdependency explaining here. At the very first, there is ignorance. We have to, from these 12 interdependence is now like a wheel, but we have to start from somewhere. So it's just starting from the ignorance. There's ignorance, which is the confusion, that misunderstand all knowledge. So ignorance is it's called confusion. That what that means is the misunderstanding of all knowledge. Now there's a lot of descriptions we can go through. Time, This 5 skandha we have. Look at the. Right now we're holding one solid. I am my body. We don't realize it's all interconnected. There's so many things compose it. So we are just one unique. Then there comes I, my body, So it's misunderstanding. It's confused because of ignorance. Under the influence of ignorance is create the mental formation of the karma of afflicted virtues and non-virtues. This is called the mental affirmation conditioned by ignorance. See, the seed of the karma is carried by the mind, the habit, by the mind. So that is called the consciousness conditioned by the mental formation. The consciousness carries the karma. By the power of the karma, the mind is fully confused into a mother's womb and an embryo and so forth arise. This is called the name and form conditioned by consciousness. Then we have no idea. We just, according to the karma, we enter into mother's womb, and we have no idea it's human being or anybody can be, But here is a human realm. By developing the name and by developing the name and the form, all the senses of the eye, ear, and so forth are completed. This is called the sixth increasing field, conditioned by name and form. Name, just name. Form, name, there's a feeling, perception, formation, consciousness. There's a four in the name, and then form, the body. The interaction, then there's a six increasing field. You see, the eyes, I can see the object, ear can listen to sound, and the odor can smell by the nose, and the food is tasted by tongue, and the physical touch and mental, what is thinking about that. So these are six, the six increasing field. The interaction of these eyes, organ, and so forth, the corresponding objects and the consciousness is called the contact conditions by the six increasing field. So when you have eyes, that contacts the form, and the ear contacts the sound. So like this, there's contact. It's called the six. There's conditioned by contact. By the six increasing field. Through contact, one experiences the feeling of joy, suffering, or indifference. This is called the feeling conditioned by the contact. So when you contact with the object, you see beautiful form, you see there's joy. When you see ugly form, there's a sadness or aversion, and neither beautiful nor ugly, indifference. It's called feeling. When there's a feeling, there is a joy, attachment, and stronger attachment. That's called craving, conditioned by feeling. When you like the form, so forth, sound, and so forth, then you enjoy looking the beautiful form, one after another, and that's called craving. You want to crave, you are craving that. So that's called the craving conditioned by feeling. From that attachment, one craves more and more, and which is true, not to be separate from the object of attachment. That's called grasping, conditioned by craving. So then the craving becomes strong, and you don't like to separate. You want to keep it. And then there's a lot of struggle, fighting there. But that happens. It's called the graspings, conditioned by craving. Through that grasping, karma and existence of body, speech, and mind are again created. That's called existence conditioned by the grasping. So there's grasping, that creates the karma, called existence. That karma creates the 5 aggregates, 5 skandha. That's called the birth condition by existence. Then one is earlier mentioned, conceived in the mother's womb, and we are born. Birth is from that existence. After birth, the aggregates which actually exist increase. Ripens, and cease. First, from the young, from the first day, it increase, ripening, young men, young women, stronger and stronger. Then start aging down. So cease this ripening and cease. Ripening means aging. Cease means death. That's called aging and death conditioned by birth. Due to ignorance, complete attachment and craving, death cause the internal pain called sorrow. So then there comes, when you're born, you age, get sick, die, all the suffering comes, pain called sorrow. That sorrow causes the expression in words. So I'm suffering, I don't like this is happening. We express in the words called lamentation. We lamentation. When the 5 consciousnesses experience unhappiness, it is called the suffering. Bringing that in the mind, that suffering is called mental unhappiness. Furthermore, in this way and so forth, the entire afflicted or defiled subconsciousness is called the disturbed mind. So this is how first you see 12 interdependence. Very nicely, very brief but clear explained here. These 12 should be understood in 3 categories: ignorance, craving, and grasping comprise the afflicting emotions. I'll say that we got three portions: ignorance, craving is attachment, and grasping is aversion. So these three mental afflictions. When you look at the explanation of the grasping seems like a stronger attachment. It is, but you see, the nature is that because you are craving, then see you don't want all other obstacles, to keep that. No, that's the aversion. It's within in the grasping, within in the attachment, then the anger there comes, the aversion comes there. Mental formation and existence and karma groups. So then this mental formation and the 10th, second mental formation, 10th existence are called karma group. So first group, ignorance, craving, grasping is called mental. The craving is the 8th, and grasping is the 9th. Ignorance the first. So these are the mental affliction or afflicting emotions. And second is mental formation and existence, the 10th. They are called the karma group. Their consciousness and so forth. All the rest called all the remaining 7 are group as suffering. They call the result of this mental afflictions and the karma and the results. So these 12 interdependents are divided into 3, you see, or put into 3 categories. So please keep that in the mind. The treatise on the essence of interdependence says the 12 interdependent elements should be understood in 3 groups. The sage Buddha described interdependent as afflicting emotions, karma, and suffering. These 3. See, the first, ignorance; the 8th, craving; and the 9th is grasping. 9th comprise the afflicting emotions. The second, mental formation; the 10th existence comprise the karma, and remaining 7 comprise the suffering. Okay. So time-wise now is okay. This looks very important. I'll read it. The example of these are: ignorance is like one who plants the seed, like now outside explanation of this. The ignorance like the seed, one who plants the seed. Karma is like the field, where the field, and it's like the field. Consciousness like the seed. Craving is like moisture. Name and form are like shoots. The others are like branches, leaves, and so forth. If there were no ignorance, then mental formation could not appear. You see, if there's no ignorance, then there's no mental formation or appear. Likewise, without birth, then there's no agency. Aging and death would not happen. But because there is ignorance, mental formations are fully created, and so forth. When there's birth, aging, and death occurs. Ignorance does not think, I will create mental formation. Ignorance itself will not think, I will create the mental formation, and so forth. No. Creates. Likewise, birth does not think, I will create aging and death. and aging and death, death do not think we were created by birth, but when there is ignorance, then mental formation appears and manifests. Likewise, when there is birth, aging, and death appears and manifests. Thus, this is inner interdependence with cause. This is very important. When there is something exists, the effects will come. The reflection will happen. So we should aware there's no something special creator is there. All are interdependent, connected. When one is there, the other is there. When one is missing, that other is missing. Second, the inner interdependence supported by conditions. Earth, our body, this is our body. The earth, water, fire, wind, space, and consciousness are called the six elements. It's called six elements. The earth element causes the solidity of the body. The water element causes the body to cohere, bring together. The fire element digests whatever you eat, drink, and so forth. The wind elements moves, we walk, run, nothing, and breathe out and in. And the space element creates the space within the body. The consciousness elements creates the five consciousness, and the afflicted mental consciousness. Without these conditions, the body cannot be born. And through the combination of these six elements, a body functions fully. These six elements do not think I establish solidity and so forth. The body also does not think I was created by these conditions, but by these conditions, the body arises. You see, so there's no special creator. I created this, nothing. It's all just conditional. So when you investigate that way, the body itself is nothing, it's emptiness. If you take the earth element, fire element, water element, space element, there's no body. But when this all come together, we have this body. Furthermore, many lifetimes does it take to complete these 12 elements of interdependence. The 10 Noble Bhumi Sutra says, ignorance and mental formations are related to the past. In the past, we create the karma, so forth. Consciousness through feeling occurs in the present life. Craving, so forth, through existence are related to the future. Then we crave and grasping create karma for the next life. Then the cycle continues. Without beginning and end, like a wheel. The interdependence of, now this is a continuation of this samsaric interdependence. The interdependence of nirvana is in reverse order. When one realizes all the phenomena as the nature of the pervading emptiness, then ignorance is ceased. When that ceases, everything respectively ceased until aging and death, and that, as it is said. Anyway, the reverse interdependence. So when you realize, the ignorance, when one sees ignorance is nothing, not exist. Where ignorance? Outside the body, inside the body, Mind, where's the mind? On you look at this, ignorance is nothing. But to see that, we need a wisdom, you see, special insight, wisdom. When you have special wisdom, you see the ignorance is non-existence. As soon as when you realize ignorance is non-existence, mental formation now cannot function, cannot manifest, because there's no ignorance. All these 5 skandha that I was talking about is all just illusory nature. Then all the rest will dysfunction, dislink. So when, as it said, when ignorance ceases, then mental formation ceases, and so forth. When birth ceases, the aging and death, sorrow, lamentation, suffering, mental unhappiness, and distress all cease to exist. Thus, the vast aggregates of suffering cease, you see. When there's no birth, there's no aging. When there's no aging, there's nothing, no death. Then there's no suffering related to the death. All this cease to exist. That's why Dharma practice is so important. You see, nobody wants the suffering, especially at the time of death. No. See, I was talking about, you see, before, as you see, the health insurance, then good retirements, very expensive, you see. Health insurance are so expensive. The retirements are so expensive because now we have no ability to handle things well, physically and mentally. So to have little comfort, we have to pay so much. So look at this nature of samsara, and then look back to this Dharma practice. How much it will help us to Dharma practice steady, So it's, as mentioned, it's not a religious training, it's the practical approach. It costs nothing, we just need wisdom. See, we need a wisdom to see this precisely. And then we need a devotion, interest to follow up, practice, meditate, and then we get the benefit. And then we can provide the benefit to others. That's the wisdom of the Dharma, or wisdom of the Buddha. See? So now jealous, pride, that's I don't have to read. Number 6, page 229. Afflicting emotions of equal strength, if the afflicting emotions or delusions or confusions are of equal strength, or if you have discursive thoughts, just general, then you should train in the breath. See, practice the meditation of watching the breath, counting, following, so forth. It's in all. The treasury of Abhidhamma, Bhasvantu says, there are 6 types: counting, following, abiding, analyzing, transformation, and fully purifying. So then, step-by-step practice, you see, we follow, we follow into the Dharma practice, they then go to retreat, we understand impermanence and mental afflictions, and we're following the practice of loving kindness, compassion, bodhicitta. You know, there are 4 dharmas of Gampopa. No? Mind follows the dharma, or dharma follows the dharma. And dispelling the confusion from the path. No. Yes, and follow the dharma into the path. Second. And the third, dispelling the confusion from the path. And then realizing everything as it is, the dawning wisdom as it is. So here they're saying, in addition of the secret mantra system, one trains without avoiding, practicing, or transformation the afflicting emotions, or there is system of marvelous lineage which should be understood through oral instruction. One can understand that all this through the co-emergent, pervading primordial wisdom and the 6 dharmas of the glorious Narupa. You see? So this you see. Then this first, we cannot tell this right at the beginning, no. But when you practice, no, for some time, you understand this. Everything's nature of emptiness. Nothing exists out of emptiness. Everything exists within emptiness. Emptiness exists within emptiness. All phenomena exist within emptiness, no? And emptiness exists within all the phenomena. One has all this training enough, well, then you are saying the Marvelous tradition, all are nothing but, then is wisdom. There's nothing to avoid. No, the Mara itself is the absolute Buddha. No? The mental affliction itself is the Dharmakaya. So these kind of practices there. No? So first, but we need renunciation of samsara, as described. These are little painful, you know, who are so kind of get used in the samsara. Those who are so much involved in the samsara, when you tell renounce samsara, it's not a pleasant word. You know, you don't like it. I don't want to renounce samsara. No, I enjoy being in the samsara. But then when suffering comes, we just cry. Why I should have this? Why I need this? No. See, so to free from all this confusion, Dharma is the total solution of all those confusion, suffering. No. That's why we need Dharma study, Dharma practice. See, we need to start somewhere and then get some individuals who have real wisdom to share this and say, yes, I know this is how it does. Like, as mentioned, Milarepa was one of the most responsible to establish the real Buddha's teaching in Tibet. He went through such great hardship and sacrificed everything. You know. Then he made the enlightenment. He achieved that. And then he taught these teachings to his great disciples, including Gampopa, and that brought Dharma teachings, you know, so much fresh, vivid in Tibet, 11th, 12th, 13th centuries, you know. But then slowly declining, you know. Well, not so much practicing, you know. It's involved so much activities in the monastery. Okay, so these are the gradual process to train the mind in order to enter into the path of meditative concentration. So we need all those gradual. So Gampopa very skillfully, wisely, kindly lay out in a very few sentences, but with the very precise, the quotations in his own explanations. You see. Now in the Samatha classification, actual meditative concentration has three classification, three division. The meditative concentration of abiding in bliss at the present. Meditative concentration of accumulating good qualities, and meditative concentration of benefiting sentient beings. The first one is the method to make a proper vessel of one's own mind. So this means when you have, with these all conditions as explained before, now you have achieved such a wonderful meditative concentration, or samatha, samadhi, shamatha, samadhi, you achieve it. Once you have that really good samadhi, then your mind is totally blissed, totally peaceful, calm. That's called, what's called the abiding and the bliss. You see, your mind abides in that. Then you don't need anything else. You don't need any distractions. You don't have to go to the movies, theaters. You don't have to go to all the public meetings. You are fully satisfied with that. See? So this is the first one. The second one, establishing of all the Buddha's qualities on the basis of the proper vessel. You see, once you have this samadhi, all the Buddha's qualities manifest. You see it because you have such a precise, clear mind. You have a clairvoyance. You can understand the interdependence so well. Then all the Buddha's qualities of, like, say, the 10 strength, 12, the 10 strengths, and the 4 fearlessnesses, 18 unmixed qualities, everything you achieve. The third one is benefiting sentient beings. Then you can benefit sentient beings so much, unlimited. You can manifest so much. Now, so you can emanate bodies, hundreds and thousands of the bodies you can manifest. Okay, so maybe, yes, let's read. First one, abiding in bliss. Meditative concentration of abiding in bliss at the present is, this moment, is practical approach. You have it, is explained in the Bodhisattva's Bhumis. Meditative concentration of all the Bodhisattva is free from discursive thoughts, perfectly ease the body and the mind, is supremely pacified, mind is supremely pacified, is free from arrogance, does not experience the taste, and is free from perception, which is described the mind abiding in the blissful state during this life. See? Now, Gampopa was making short commentary on these things. Free of discursive thoughts means maintaining the mind one-pointedly, free from discursive thoughts such as existence, non-existence, and so forth. perfectly ease the body and mind means eliminating all negative action of the body, like taking life, sexual misconduct, stealing, all this, no, body, see, and the mind. Supremely pacified means following effortlessly. Free from arrogance means free of the afflicting emotions of you, like self, I, these are totally free. Not experiencing the taste means not having the afflicting emotions of existence. Free from perception means free of the enjoyment of form and so forth. And the doors to all these different ways are the four meditative concentrations. This is related to the form wall, desire wall, and form wall. This is a form wall. The first, second, third, and fourth in the form wall, there are four stages. The first meditative concentration has the subtle, analytic, and discursive mental factors. Subtle, not the gross. The second has joy, the feeling, the mental formation called joy. And the third has very subtle bliss. The fourth has equanimity. All that 51 mental factors, no? All the 51 mental factors cease to exist except equanimity. Accumulating good qualities. Now, when you have samadhi, what kind of good qualities you can achieve? Briefly, as I mentioned, no? The meditative concentration of the accumulating good qualities is either uncommon or common. This means Sharavaka Partik Buddha, the common and uncommon. You see, the first uncommon is a limitless, inconceivable variety of meditative concentrations related to the 10 strength, is mentioned 10 strength. Even the names of which the hearer and the solitary realizer do not know. So how could they enter them, means how they can achieve? The common ones as liberating from samsara, surpassing, increasing exhaustion, the discriminating awareness, and so forth, are held in common with the hearers and solitary realizer. The Sharavakas, Paradibuddha, they all use this name. It's common. Where the names are common, their nature are dissimilar. The names are common. They use Zen, Samadhi, clairvoyance, so forth. But in real qualities, it's beyond their ability. Buddha's achievement, wisdom is much, much more profound. Beneficiation means one can manifest limitless bodies depending on any of the meditative concentration, and then benefit sensation means in the 11 ways, such as providing whatever support is needed and so forth, is as explained earlier in the chapter 13. In that case, there are states called karma abiding and special insights. So those two very important. What means karma abiding? What means special insight? Now here. What is karma abiding and what is special insight? See, karma abiding is the perfect absorption of mind with mind, you see. Abiding the mind within the calmness, within the calm nature of the mind. It's called calm, absorption of mind with mind, see. Special insight means clearly discriminating what's right and what's wrong. This what's right means what's the nirvana, nature of the nirvana. What's wrong means what's the nature of the samsara. See. On that basis, the Ornament of Mind Sutra says, because the mind perfectly abides in absorption with mind. See, mind abides within the mind is called karma abiding, shamatha or samadhi. And because of fully discriminating all phenomena, they are called the karma abiding and the special insight. So discriminating all phenomena means knowing all phenomena, nothing but nature of emptiness, selflessness. That's called realizing selfless nature of all phenomena is a special insight. And mind stays calm within the mind is shamatha. So this we should understand why we need this practice that way. So they are called karma abiding and special insight. Karma abiding is the actual meditative concentration. See, the actual, this topic here, especially meditative concentration, that we are trying to achieve that. So that is called karma abiding. And special insight is wisdom awareness, which we'll explain next chapter. Special insight. So in order to actualize, drill to comprehend special insight, then this karma abiding practice, meditative concentration, is indispensable. We just see that. As I mentioned, as we don't threaten, don't feel afraid. So I cannot do this. No, this is not for me. No. Instead of saying that, what to expect? What is that? How to achieve? All the previous great teachers, the qualities are described, how they achieved. And since we are lacking these conditions, so we don't have much wisdom to explain, to experience. So then next is this increase. Meditative concentration will increase through premortal wisdom awareness, and dedication, as explained before chapter 12. The perfection of meditative concentration is supported by pervading emptiness. Body, you have no consciousness and enlightenment and the object itself. All these four nature of emptiness. They are there, but their nature is emptiness and compassion to all sentient beings. So this wisdom and compassion, by joining together, we are free from the samsara and partial nirvana. As explained before chapter 12. The result, one should understand the result of the meditative concentration in the ultimate and conditional state. In the ultimate state, one attains unsurpassable enlightenment. The Bodhisattva's Bhumi says, Bodhisattva, by fully perfecting meditative concentration, attains the unsurpassable, perfect, complete enlightenment, will achieve the perfect, meaning the future Buddha will also have to go through this, will achieve the complete enlightenment and are attaining the complete, perfect enlightenment. In the conditional state, one will attain the body of gods free from the desire realm. So this God is a form world, and formless world. These two are the God realms. Ajahn Nagarjuna says, by fully abandoning the joy, happiness, and suffering of the desire world, one will achieve the state equal to the gods of the Brahman, the first, the first of the four the levels of the form world, Brahman, and a clear light, second, and increasing virtue, third, and great fruit, God, is the fourth God realms of the four meditative concentration. So we have done roughly about this meditative concentration. So it's little, as mentioned, heavy duty, you see, getting a little higher, kind of more, kind of deeper. See how it goes step by step, right at the beginning of the training of the action bodhicitta mission, the 6 parameters. First is easier, and then more difficult, then fifth, sixth is more difficult, because these all are mental strength we need to develop. That's why the mind is powerful. In the wrong way, mental affliction is so powerful, very destructive. In the world, it's all destructive, all the weapons, everything is made by the wrong mind, the mind of the illusion, the mind of the ignorant is produce all these destructive weapons. Now the wisdom mind produce all this, how to free from this cause of suffering and the suffering itself. See, so it's the mind. So the two faces of the mind, you see now very precisely now, clearly. The wisdom side of the mind is in nirvana, peace, calmness. The ignorant side of the mind is the suffering. So look at this. So then when you are fully convinced in this understanding, our Dharma practice will be really productive. Can help the world so much. So please just first you take it as just as an object. This is like when you go to the college, you study all these different subjects. You understand all the points. Like here also, you understand all the points. Then you see how much I have ability or can follow the path, or how much I'm limited, you can see. But if one follows the path, how much benefit is there? Then you can expect the qualities of the previous lives, the previous great masters, how they achieve, how they could do these things. And we are not there. So that's why how we are behind. So let's see these things. The mind is so profound. precious. It's all within us, not outside, not anywhere. It's all inside. I know I see there are some people, they jump around here, there's I participate that ceremony, I participate that chanting mantra, this, that, and not really focusing in a complete this kind of subject. If you practice, I should say, first you start complete the jewel ornament of liberation from beginning to the end, then we get a complete picture of what Buddha taught, what Buddha taught in the sutra system, all, and then you can understand about the Vajrayana. On the basis of this, when these are well established, then when you receive empowerment, it's very powerful. Such an authentic teacher, Lama, master, performs the empowerment and explains well what means the base empowerment, what means the second empowerment, what means the third empowerment, what means the fourth empowerment. See, there's so much meaning there. Usually you don't hear those things. You go, you participate, go there, get the vase on your head and get a few drops of water, and then maybe a pill, and then maybe the thread, on your neck to wear. So I receive empowerment, That's not sufficient, Empowerment means transformation. To transform, you see here, if you get all this message enough, then if you go to empowerment ceremony, the teacher, the Lama who explains well, and that is really so rich, so profound, then you can see how really transformation is about. Make sense? That's how Buddha's teaching is built step by step for the practitioner. That's called Lamrim, Lamrim stages step by step. I'm sure many of you have read Buddha's life story. Have you heard of Buddha giving any empowerments? And Buddha was in Bodh Gaya giving so much empowerments. Buddha was in Sharavasti. Buddha gave all this empowerment. You don't hear so much. No, all the great masters also, you don't hear so much. They give the teachings, step by step. Even Milarepa, who's attained enlightenment in one lifetime, by the training of all these Vajrayana teachings, and look at, all his Dharma songs are just nothing but teachings. Read all his songs. It's all about the teachings, all about the transformations. Likewise, here Gampopa, how the teachings are described. So these are the real, we should say, as I mentioned, in Dharma teachings, you study, practice this. I think Buddha has not given right at the beginning, I will give you Mahamudra teaching. We just follow step by step and reflect, see this, and then you see, appreciate really. Any questions you have?
Bonnie has a question.
Huh?
Morning, Kenshin.
Yes.
It's so nice to see you.
Yes, very good. Yeah, I'm so happy you're always there.
So I have a question about the 12 links here. Is this correspond to the outside of the wheel of life with dependent origination? So if you look at the center, you know, you have the snake and the rooster, and then there's those 6 forms that we can be born into. And then the outside of the wheel are the 12 links of dependent origination. Does that correspond to this 12 that we just studied?
What it is.
Yes, it describes that way. The 12.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the 12.
Like the wheel.
Yeah, the wheel, yes.
The wheel of life.
Then you see in the center, there's 3 animals.
Right.
The pig, rooster, and the snake. So
Right.
these are 3 poisons.
With the 3 poisons.
The 3 poisons are the principal factor of these 12 interdependent links.
Right, right.
These are created, then you can see the 6 realms of the samsara, you know, the God,
Right.
Human being, animal, hell, Holy Ghost, you know, so how we go around. Yes, it's very profound.
I just wanted to clarify that because I like the visualization. It helps me to understand where they fit on the different pictures of the blind man and the giving birth and the corpse. And I just wanted to make sure I was understanding correctly.
Yeah, yes, it's really good, you know. Yeah, just, you know, this all our investigation. We investigate, you know, analyze, then meditate, just see whether it makes sense or not. And then most important is, as you mentioned, our practice of bodhicitta. This all are to perfect the bodhicitta mind. So always just put emphasis, say, may every sentient being have all the happiness, and I'll be so happy. And may every sentient being free from suffering, and I'll be so happy. Then the fruit of these 2 practices is Buddhahood. Then may everybody attain Buddhahood. So put emphasis on this. To perfect this, then all these teachings that described, which is not, it's all just to purify the mind. It's not making complex, difficult, but just to sort out our confusion. Where we are so confused, and this all confusion just to need to now just get rid of them. We cannot get rid of them and say, I don't like this, I don't want, you get out of here. You cannot say that, you know. But we have to have such great skill, wisdom, mental authority, mental power, ability. So that's how Gampopa is building up the mind. Know how to relate, how to connect. So that's why, as I mentioned, we are so fortunate. See, we always should see this. Don't discourage yourself, rather encourage. Say, I'm so fortunate, no? If I cannot do, who can do it? See, no? There are people who are not interested in Dharma, how they can do it, no? So I am here so fortunate. Yes, I can do it. Then I will try to help others. Make sense?
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah. That's I'm so happy, you know. That's I feel very happy, you know. I feel very fortunate. See, first of all, Gampopa, I got in such a fortune to relate to Gampopa's life, you know, so read his life story, his activity, so forth. And then this teaching which Gampopa wrote, Jewel Ornament of Liberation, I received from Kunu Rinpoche, you know. And Kuno Rinpoche was exceptionally such a great teacher in our age, in the 20th century, And I feel so fortunate, to direct this life, a great teacher, not just intellectual. He's such a great practitioner of bodhicitta. I myself, so poor, so weak person, but still have so much kind of fortune, to have these things. And now I feel so fortunate to share you all who are interested, in this 21st century. So I am very grateful. Thank you so much, everybody. Any questions?
Stephen and Teresa.
Hi, Kanchana. I had a small question. At the beginning of the 12 links, there's a quote, monks, because of this, that is produced, because that is born. Did Kuna Rinpoche ever explain that particular line? I hear this come up a lot. I don't know the particular meaning.
That's because all his audience at that time, audience are all the monks, So he's explaining when you see the rice, this stalk, see, if you know this rice stalk well, then you know the interdependence. So saying this, as I mentioned, how the rice is, that in India at that time, the rice is very popular, I think. Rice is so the staple food in India, So how rice is grown, all these conditions, if one is missing, that cannot have a rice. All these complete conditions need. So like that, when you know this interdependence of all, then you see nothing is independent, first of all. But to have something, you have to have all the conditions. You cannot say, I like this and I don't like this, You say, when you cook, say, in the forest, when you cook, make fire, a fire makes a smoke. I don't like fire, but I like to cook food, You cannot say that, You have to endure the smoke, So all these conditions, everything come together. This is called interdependent. It's very subtle, And then Buddha lay out, when there's ignorance, so then Buddha was basically saying is, the point is, we need to free from suffering. You all desire to free from suffering. You all are here in front of me that you are studying my teaching, to free from suffering, to achieve enlightenment. But I cannot give you enlightenment, that this is enlightenment, but I can give you the method of the enlightenment. So the root cause of the samsara is ignorance, first saying, ignorance. Because of ignorance, there's a mental formation, creating all the karmas. Then because of the mental formation, they created all the karmas, then there's consciousness, which carries basis of all the karma. Then because of that, without choice, you conceived. First is called name and form. Then after that, it develops. The child stays in the mother's womb about 9 months, During that time, all the process step by step. And then the 12 interdependence, just Buddha explains so skillfully, carefully, so it makes sense. So then at the end of all this, you are born. Once you are born, then there's aging, sickness, death, so forth. So this first is saying to the monks, you are here, there's nothing to do, you have to practice Dharma, you practice Dharma this way, Make sense?
Thank you very much.
Rinpoche,
Yes.
it seems like for me, it's almost easier to, on the 12 links, to look at like emotion and see the shallowness of that, the kind of frailty of emotion, and then how that emotion could go to grasping and clinging. And then if you pop one of those, like you see the emptiness of that or the non-solidity of that, does that start breaking down the 12 links?
Now, 12 interdependence is, you see, described in many ways. Previous life, this life, next life, from previous life, ignorance, mental formation, and this life, all this, this is the karma, the mental, previous life, mental formation in ignorance. This life, you create all this existence, and this called craving this, and then next life you are born, and then it's called increasing field, contact, and craving, grasping, so forth. But in a short form, even in one moment, you can have all the 12 interdependent. You see, if you have, like, say, anger, just example, strong anger. That anger is based on ignorance. See, and that is the anger is mental formation that would create the karma. At that moment, because of the angers, there's no peace, no happiness. So, and that moment, you see, you're seeing the object to whom you are angry. So all this consciousness, name and form, consciousness, and 6 increasing field, and contacts, and craving, attachment, craving, grasping, and then see the existence, siba, and then that the anger is just that moment is there, it's birth. And then anger is not permanent, it disappears, cease to exist, but the leftover is all the different types of suffering. So you see, so in one moment, you can have all the 12 interdependence. So every moment we have opportunity. So as soon as when you have wisdom, awareness, when anger pops up, at that moment, when you have mindfulness of this special insight, anger is not exist anywhere. No, it's not exist anywhere. Where? That moment you have special insight, and you see the non-existence of the ignorance and anger. And at that moment, the suffering created from there is not there. So it's reverse, you see. Without a special insight, then you see all this comes one after, all the suffering link. When you have the insight, special insight, then all the reverse is there. So what we need the good shamatha, mindfulness. You see, as soon as when you have good shamatha, meditative concentration, and mindfulness, and then there's such a great opportunity for the wisdom to give rise. When wisdom is manifested there, this all just, you can see the non-existence of this all we're grasping. So that's what the beauty of the Dharma practice, you see. how important our Dharma practice. We have to do this every day. No, just devote. So as long as my breathing is there, I will continue my Dharma practice and appreciate, rejoice. Okay, well, today we done, I think, very well. Despite very complex subject. Now please take a deep breath. Inhale fully. All the stress, please out. Exhale. And then please inhale fully. All the joys of the Buddha. So I'm so fortunate. And exhale all our delusions. And once more, please inhale fully all the Buddha's wisdom, bodhicitta, and pervades our entire body and mind. You see, everything is just like a rainbow, like a mirage. And see just how wonderful things exist in such a way. And this is reality nature. But only Buddha's wisdom allows us to see these things. Ordinary sentient beings are so involved in this grasping, fixated, and then suffering so much. And we develop such a sense of great compassion to all this and wish everyone has all the happiness inside mind, not happiness from outside, destroying by somebody else, but manifest within through this Dharma practice, bringing the Buddha's wisdom within us. So please relax the mind in that spacious mind. Now with this, please say some dedication prayers, Anila.
Brief long life prayer for Rinpoche. You who are richly endowed with glorious wealth of Dharma knowledge, who through reflecting and meditating have actualized self-aware absolute reality and shine mid 100,000 light rays of ethical discipline of the Buddha Dharma. May you, Kenshin Ratnazawa, live long. Dorje Chang, Tilopa, Naropa, Marpa, Milarepa, Dharma Lord Gampopa, Phagmadrupa, and Lord Rikumpa. Please bestow upon us the most auspicious blessings of all the Kagyu Lamas. By this virtue, may I achieve the all-knowing state, and may all those who travel the waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death cross the ocean of samsara by defeating all enemies. Bodhicitta, the excellent and precious mind, where it is unborn, may it arise, where it is born, may it not decline, but ever increase higher and higher. I pray that the Lama may have good health and long life. I pray that your Dharma activities spread far and wide. I pray that I may not be separated from you. As Manjushri and likewise Samantabhadra realized the ultimate state, I will follow in their path and share their merit with all sentient beings. by the blessing of the Buddhas who attained the three kayas, by the blessing of the truth of unchanging Dharma as such, and by the blessing of the indivisible Sangha order, may the merit I share bear fruit. By the virtues collected in the three times by myself and all beings in samsara and nirvana, and by the innate root of virtue, may I and all sentient beings quickly attain unsurpassed, perfect, complete, precious enlightenment. May the teachings of the great Drikungpa, Ratnashiri, who's omniscient Lord of the Dharma, Master of Interdependence, continue and increase through study, practice, contemplation, and meditation until the end of samsara. Thank you, Rinpoche. Thank you. It was an amazing day. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kenshin.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ken-san.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rinpoche. Thank you, Chancellor.
Thank you.
Muchas gracias, Ken-chan.
Gracias.
Muito obrigada, gracias.
See you
See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Ken-chan.
Yes.
Gracias,
Bye-bye.
Yeah, please take care.
Thank you.
Take care, Rinpoche.
If folks want to wait a